this too.
You know what I'm saying? I thought their consideration for Roy.
No one had any idea. But that is so funny to not do it. Is it in your?
Flip between the two.
Christmas was the Architects. Okay.
That would be great.
I know. I should ask her. Oh, I do have it for you. I do have it. I'm gonna go home and stay up tonight and read it. Oh yeah. Is this Rick? This is Rick here, isn't it? Yes. It is. Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know who they were going to give it.
Yes, I did.
This came just before Christmas from the Architects. It's some chocolates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. There's a huge thing. It's a little tiny one.
When we recognize, and whether I do it or
Okay. The Georgia cake on thing. I didn't get it. Friday, and it was the same day, same time. Okay.
It's getting quiet. It must mean that we're approaching the time to start this evening. We welcome everyone out to our board meeting tonight. The agendas are posted at the front of the room and also on each side for your reference. We'd like to start this evening by inviting Matt Lee, a student at Roy High School, to do a violin solo. And when Matt is finished, he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Matt, before you sit down, I see you have a couple there that you brought with you. Could you please introduce them to us? Very, very proud parents. Another round of applause for Matt. That was excellent. It was so fun to see talent like that and hear talent like that. So, congratulations on a job very well done. It is time that we administer the oath of office to 3 new board members, existing board members that have been reelected. And we would invite Richard Favero, Doug Hurst, and John Ritchie to come forward and turn the time over to Dr. Robert Peterson to administer the oath.
Test. Okay, you ready? I state your name.
I, John Ritchie,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of Utah,
and the Constitution of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and I will discharge the office with fidelity.
Very good. Congratulations.
Janice, are you getting an autograph? The next item on our agenda is it's time to re-elect a board president and vice president. At this time, I would open nominations for president of the Board of Education of the Weber School Board.
I'd like to nominate Brent Richardson as president of the Weber School District Board of Education.
Moved and second. I'm at a loss for words. I'm not sure we need to vote on this yet, but it has been seconded. Any other nominations?
I move that we cease nominations.
Motion to suspend nominations. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we'll move back. Do I have a motion to approve Brent Richardson as Board of Education President of the Weber Board of Education? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll now open nominations for Vice President of the Board of Education of the Weber School District. Dean?
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate John Ritchie as Vice President.
We have a motion to nominate John Ritchie. Do I have a second? Second. Do I have any other nominations?
I move that nomination cease.
Do I have a second? We have to go through this. I'm not sure that we're quite on Robert's rules here, but this is the way we have to do it.
Can I say that?
Mitzi seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we'll move back to this first nomination. We have a second. All in favor of John Ritchie being Vice President of the Weber Board of Education? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Board. That was difficult. We now move on to our consent calendar. Board, if you've had an opportunity to peruse the consent calendar, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The consent calendar passes. We will now turn the time over to Superintendent Stevens, but before we do, being this is going to be foundation business, we'd like to recognize the president of our foundation, Cheryl Cox. you stand for us? We appreciate you being with us tonight and all of your wonderful support of the school district through the foundation. Thank you so very much. We'll now turn the time over to Dr. Steve.
Great. I'd like to invite Chris Zimmerman and Emily Euler, and I'm thinking, is Shelley ill? Okay. Shelley Bush, who's our development director for the foundation, is ill, quite ill, and she's not been able to make it back from Christmas break, and I think she spent most of last week not well. Piggybacking on President Richardson's recognition to Cheryl Cox, I mentioned that we've got a 40-person board, and Cheryl's our president. There aren't many boards of that size. We've got another member of our board here, Brian Hurst. Welcome, Brian. It's a phenomenal board that represents just some of the finest people in our community, and they are so supportive of our schools. Board, it's such a privilege for me to present to you for an E+ Team Award, our foundation team that's made up of Chris and Shelley and Emily. We hired Emily this past year, hasn't it been, Emily, as our secretary, and she's just doing outstanding work. Chris, on the other hand, has been with us for now 10 years.
Did you say she's doing outstanding, and on the other hand?
On the other hand, we
Yeah,
all
that's
noticed,
exactly
we
what
all
he said.
noticed that, Chris.
Yeah.
Listen, will you let me get through this? You know, I can't do anything that Chris doesn't just jump in. So I've got the mic, okay?
Everybody up here saw it.
We hired Emily this year.
But we agree.
On the other hand, we've had Chris for 10 years. I was going to say such nice things
I know.
about you, Chris,
We had him for 10 years.
and I'm still going to. Chris took over our foundation during a difficult time. One of those being that we were in the height of a serious recession. And it was difficult for foundations to operate and function, let alone thrive. And Chris has brought this incredible energy and passion, ties to the community. And even during the downturn, those years during the challenging time in our economy, we saw incredible improvement in amount of money that was coming in on our Jubilee and golf tournament and pass-through monies. And it's because of Chris's leadership. We just finished what in my mind is the premier event in this city, and that is the Christmas Tree Jubilee. Many were there, but we had over 300 volunteers that participated in that. That's about 100 trees and wreaths, about 250 baskets. We had 900 people at the gala dinner that evening. It was remarkable. The live auction made over $50,000. Chris started a thing a few years ago that we simply refer to as an ask. And nothing is auctioned off, no services kind of given out. Rather, it's just, here's a project that we have. It usually is something that represents a need for special needs children. And there was a wonderful video presentation about that. It dealt with All Abilities Playground. And we built a few of those, and they have made such an impact in children's lives who previously would maybe wheel up to a sand or a bark type of a playground, and their wheelchair just stopped on the edge, and they watched everybody play. Now they can get on these playgrounds and, be like any other kid. That's our theme, like any other kid. In about 10 minutes, just asking people to consider a donation. In about 10 minutes, $120,000 was donated by this community. It was absolutely extraordinary, wasn't it? Silent auction about $30,000. The net on our Christmas tree jubilee about $311,000. Each year we do a golf tournament. It's the premier golf tournament. Almost every foundation does a golf tournament. This is the premier golf tournament, and every year it's about $50,000 raised for children. Our foundation has approximately 15 permanent endowments. These are funds that have been set up often by a family with a specific purpose intended. For example, we've got one of our long-standing permanent endowments is named after Earl Cragen, a former administrator in our district, right, Dean? And there's two aspects of that. One goes to kids in every school who represent outstanding citizenship, and that was at Earl's request. And the other goes toward an outstanding leader, administrator. That's one of maybe 15 permanent endowments that are set up within our foundation. Numerous scholarships are given each year. We last year, I think, as a foundation, gave out about $6,000 in classroom grants, about $8,000 in school grants, field trips to local areas of interest, the Nature Center, the Treehouse Museum, the Dinosaur Park. Every year we have thousands of our children go on field trips to these local parks and learn and enrich their schooling experience. All of those field trips paid for by our foundation. This past year, just concluded 2016, about $1 million was generated through our foundation. So if you look over a period of 8 to 10 years that Chris has been here, we're in the neighborhood of approximately $10 million generated from our community through the foundation, all going out to children. This is just an extraordinary thing. I'll mention one other thing. Chris and Emily and Shelley really have served as ambassadors to our school district in the community. I have no idea how many boards Chris sits in on, but with almost each board, he's very involved in, being the auctioneer at their dinner, running their golf tournament. He is such a tremendous ambassador for our school district, and so often that comes back to Weber School District. Whether that's because of the Kier family and you running their golf tournament, and all of a sudden the Kier family is making their $10,000 donation back to our school district. It's just a phenomenal thing. Board, I'm so proud of our foundation, and this team is absolutely extraordinary. And we are so honored, I think, tonight to recognize them with the E+ Team Award. And I present them to you with that recognition.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm going to catch him on the other end.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm trying to. Thank you. Thank you.
She's not that old.
She started teaching when she was 10.
Yeah.
You know I can't sit down without
I know.
It takes, besides having a great staff, and Emily and Shelley are amazing, it takes three things to have a wonderful foundation. Number one, it really takes a generous community, and you saw that community this year, and you see it every year. Number two, it takes an amazing board. And Brian and Cheryl, where's Jane Ann's on my board? Jane Ann's over there. John serves time on my board, and the superintendent, of course, serves time along with 35 other people. The best board in the state. But most important, to have a good foundation, you got to have a good partnership with the school district. And we hear horror stories about foundations in school districts. We have the best partnerships in the country. You are part of this foundation. Every one of these people back here from your administration help me whenever I ask. They're an amazing part of the foundation. So really this award goes to everybody here. You're all part of the team. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Now we'd like to turn the time over to Lori Rasmussen and for an E+ team award for Canyon View.
Well, thank you, President Richardson and Superintendent Stevens. I'm honored tonight to present to you the teachers from the LIFE program. But before I get started with them, what a fitting night that we would honor Chris and his foundation because they donate and contribute and make such a difference in the lives of all of the special needs kids in our district. So that was good planning, Lane, to have us both on the same night. So anyways, so we want to thank Chris and the foundation, Emily and Shelley as well, for all that they do and their board. So, and board, we are in for a treat. If you remember, I think it was back in October, we were honored to present to you the life skills teachers at Uinta. It was like the elementary program. So this program kind of ties into that, and I'll do my best to do honor to these people. They're amazing. So if I could get them to come up, these are the life program teachers at Canyon View. So if I can get Crystal and Katrina and Maddie and Marilyn and Janet. Is that all 5 of you? Okay, to come up. And I'm just excited to honor these guys with the E+ Team Award. So, Trent, here we are. These are our everyday heroes, and that's an understatement. As I've had time to go out to Canyon View and spend time in their program, it's an amazing, well-oiled machine. It's got many moving parts, and it's hard to keep up. It was hard to track them for a minute to even, get some comments from them. They were busy with 80+ kids. So anyways, this is our team that we're going to talk about. As I asked each of them, I invite you all out to visit. It's just an amazing thing to watch. But as I asked them, what do you think it is that makes your team so successful? What do you think it is that, contributes to this? And the first thing they all said was simply, it's the teamwork. It's the way they work together. And when I asked them what they love about their job, it was the same answer. They were quick to respond. It's the teamwork. They're like, we utilize each other's strengths. We lean on each other. And I could see that in the time that I was there. It was like, they just kept moving, and this person took care of that, and that person took care of this. And you could see the respect and the love that they have for each other. So it was an amazing thing to watch. The other thing they talked about, they get to have these kids for 4 years. That's different than most kids. So we'll go to the next screen. The other thing they mentioned was their great leader. And Jen, if you'll give a wave. Jen is the principal at Canyon View, and I tell you what, she's an amazing lady. She wears many hats, and they all mentioned Jen as a reason that they love job and have such success. So we don't want to forget Jen. Next slide. A bit about the LIFE program, so you guys kind of have a little bit of background. So what it is it is a post-high program. These are kids that have spent the majority of their school career in a life skills as a self-contained unit. The kids in the program vary. There's different varying skills and abilities in the program. The kids that are eligible for this, they become eligible under IDEA, which is the federal regulations that give these kids this extra time to prepare them for independent, successful living in the world. So that is kind of the goal of this whole program, is to prepare these kids after high school to be able to go out into the world and work and be successful citizens. And so that's what this program is about. At the end of their 4 years, or if they choose to leave, if they become gainfully employed before that, then they end up with a degree, a graduation, a diploma. So it's kind of a very beneficial program for these kids and their families. So that's a little bit about the LIFE program. So these fabulous ladies, these beautiful ladies, they oversee 30 paraprofessionals. That's a lot of work. If you've been in a school, having a team of 30 paraprofessionals, and they're amazing ladies as well. We could have honored all of them as well, and they would speak to that, I'm sure. You guys chime in anytime. So they have over 80 students that are under their watch and their care, and they range from 18 years to 22 years. These ladies coordinate with the community. They get kids connected and families connected to the different services, like the Division of Services for People with Disabilities, with Voc Rehab. They're helping them to be able to go out into the world and be successful. And it's just an amazing thing. When I talked to Jen and I talked to the different teachers and the students, this team, the respect and the professionalism that they show is unparalleled. People from all over the state know of this team. People turn to them within our district. They ask them to problem solve difficult kids in difficult situations. They are kind of the rock stars, and it's an amazing thing to watch. Families love them. And it was interesting. I went to a graduation. They had a mid-year graduation. It was December. And it was kind of almost sad because the kids that graduate, they are going to miss the support and the program and that these teachers provide them each and every day. And you could see it in some of the kids. They were visibly upset knowing, I don't get to attend anymore. So it was an amazing thing to watch. Parents, families love them. You know, and as successful as they are, the one thing I gathered from them, they're not content to just be great. They're always looking to do better and to become better and to try new things. And that was really evident as I talked and I watched them. You know, they focus so much on the individual child, and we'll see a little bit of evidence of that in a minute. But every single student is precious and dear to them, and that was evident as well. So they really are life changers. They're not just teachers. They really are life changers. I just want to take a minute. This is Jen, and when I went to graduation, she is one of the graduates. And if you can see on her screen, I don't know if you can see it from there, but I told her, I'm like, thank you. I said to her, congratulations for graduating. Way to go. She's nonverbal. She can't speak, but if you give her time, she could use her computer screen, and I'm not sure what that's called. Communication device. Oh, okay. Yeah, her communication device. She was able to, type out, thank you for coming to my graduation. And that's an amazing thing to see. And so, there's varying levels of abilities in the LIFE program. We've got nonverbal. We have medically fragile kids that need a lot of assistance and help. And then we've got kids that are super capable and bright. And we'll go to the next one. And this is Jason. He works at Vasa Fitness right now. He has a job, and he's doing great, and it's fun to see. I mean, what a happy guy, right? He looks pretty successful. When I asked the students, these are two other students, I asked them what they thought about their teachers, why they like to come to school. And, sometimes the words don't come real easy to these kids, but the look on their face and, the smiles, you just know they love them. And these were some of their comments. They teach me what I need to know to get a job. They pretty much get it. They know what's important for their lives. This is just some pictures I wanted to share with you. The biggest focus is getting these kids ready to be independent people in the world. They teach them daily living skills. They teach them how to do their laundry, how to cook, how to clean, what it's like to live in an apartment. And this, life, it stands for learning independent experiences. And so they kind of have all this going on down there. You would never know it, but it is amazing. Go to the next one. This is just a sample of one schedule. How many schedules do you guys have?
We have 6 schedules.
So they have 6 detailed schedules, and you can see, it's well thought out. They take the Big White, that's the name of the van. They're going to the Roy area. They're going to do some work in the can room. They're going to seminary, computers, speech, language. They've got it all down. Trent, go back to the previous slide, sorry. This is just a sample. There's 30 individual student schedules. So, they are on top of every student. This little person needed a picture schedule to help them maneuver through their day and manage that. So it's pretty impressive. Next one. This, I invite you all out to the potato bar. So the kids in the LIFE program, they have earned their food handler's permit. Is it twice a week they do a potato bar, and they sell potatoes to the staff and people. The money that they earn goes back into their program, right? And they use that money to pay for things like their food handler's permit. They go out into the community, they do the shopping, they plan, right? The menu, they prepare the food, and so they're ready to go be employed by the time they come back from, all of these fine teachers' work. Okay, next one. This is another way they make money. So the can run, they will take turns, right? And they go in the van, and they'll go to all the schools and businesses as well, and they gather the big cans. They bring them back. They peel the labels. They clean them. They wash them. They get all the glue off, and then they turn around and they sell them for $1 a piece. And again, all that money goes back to fund their program. So it's an amazing, who would know that all this is going on each and every day? So all of this, what it equals is just success in real life. And, thanks to these 5 beautiful ladies, all of these kids are going to be able to go out into the world and be successful. And there's just a little video tribute here just to these 5. And I just wanted board present these 5 beautiful ladies to you. So. So thank you, board, and thank you, ladies. Thanks. If you want to introduce who came with you tonight and just take a moment and recognize them.
Yes, my wonderful wife, my sister-in-law, and my 2 children are here with me tonight.
I have my daughter and one of our paras that's here with me.
I I have my husband Shane and my 2 little rambunctious girls over there.
And I have my daughter, and she's also a para in the district.
And I have my husband, my sisters, and my parents.
We'd like to thank all of you for being with us this evening, and we understand why you're leaving. It's okay. We'd now like to turn the time over to Matt Patterson, who's going to do a presentation on the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Art Learning Program. Matt?
Board, Superintendency, I'm so grateful to be here. I feel so fortunate to just be involved in these meetings and to be here at the Great Vitalinist and to be able to see the artwork and then be able to just have be involved in these great recognitions. And I hope to highlight another program that I'm fortunate enough to be involved with that really reaches out to this whole child. And I'm excited to be a part of that. So the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts Learning Program is a great program that's funded by the legislation, and I'll get to that a little bit further. But it really is this idea of integrating arts into the elementary that positively impacts students in every subject, whether that's language arts, social studies, math, or science. Currently, the program is in about 300 elementaries in 31 districts, and serves about 800,000 students. Weber School District has 3 art specialists at 4 of our elementaries, Valley, Hooper, Plain City, and North Ogden. We'd like to expand the program to additional schools in the future. One of our limiting factors, though, is finding quality and qualified art specialists, and it's because of the popularity and as this program's expanded throughout the state, qualified individuals are difficult to come by, but we have some of the finest in our district currently. Let's see if maybe we try. As I said, this focus on the whole child. I found this Dan Jones study that was done on the program. And it was a survey done, and they basically said, hey, what's the impact on each one of these areas? And as they interviewed teachers, 86% of them reported a positive impact in math, and 69% positive impact in language arts. And then in the other subjects, 84% reported a positive impact. And then I love this last bullet. 70% reported a positive impact in self-esteem, confidence, social skills, civility, and an improved student engagement. And that's what's exciting, is it doesn't just impact the curricular side of that. It really affects that whole child, and I love that idea that the arts really make that impact. Funding. Let's talk about how this is funded. So this is a grant provided by the state legislation. The grant is managed and distributed by the State Board of Education. Weber School District receives 80% of that specialist salary and benefits. The other 20% is split equally between the district and the individual schools. So that ends up, after all of the division and the working out, ends up being about $3,500 per school. And that specialist is part-time. So we have a part-time specialist at the school, or a full-time specialist is then split between two schools. And so we actually have 2 part-time specialists and 1 full-time specialist. So that's where the math is at, where we have 4 schools involved. So we actually have, there's a great partnership and support that comes along with the grant, not just the financial support, but the state provides statewide specialist orientation. There's actually a mentor program that's provided by Weber State University. There's also conferences and workshops that are provided monthly, and these are directly support the specialists. In addition, they actually offer training for grade level elementary teachers throughout the district. And so all of our elementary teachers can have access to the training to work with the university to provide training how to integrate arts into their classroom. So it's not just the specialists. So all of our elementary schools could take advantage of that training that Weber State and the state provides. And then also administrators of the program get some extensive training once a year to provide support and structure for that program, which is great. So what I want to do now is actually turn the time over to one of our specialists. She is in the trenches and does this every day, and she is going to be able to highlight what happens on a day-to-day basis way better than I will. So I want to introduce you to Jana Chambers, and she is out at Plain City. So come on up.
Okay, so I'm Jana Chambers, and I'm the art specialist at Plain City, like he said. And so I've been doing this is my 3rd year, and I love my job. Like, I really think it's the best job ever because 1, I love to teach, and then 2, I love the arts. And so I am super grateful for programs like this that help keep the arts in schools. I was thinking as I walked in, and we had first I saw all this cool art on the walls, and I'm automatically drawn to that and thinking like, oh, I totally want to do that with my kids now because it's so cool, which I don't know, it looks pretty intense too, so we'll see. But it's awesome, and so I just think already like the arts bring so much even to a room like this. If there's something hanging on the walls, people are drawn to it, it's interesting to look at. And then also the awesome violin performance that we got to hear is amazing, and that's another form of art. And so I just think it's so cool that we're keeping the arts in the schools like this. So I was just going to kind of go through a few things of what I do specifically as the teacher, the art specialist, and how I kind of integrate the art into their core curriculum. And sometimes it works really smoothly, and other times I have to be really creative. But the other awesome thing is I love working with all of the teachers. I think it's a really awesome opportunity to go into each classroom and not only get to know the teachers, but their students as well, and kind of see and show them how they can easily integrate arts into their core curriculum. Because I think as a teacher, and I did teach regular ed for the first 4 years when I first started teaching, and it's really hard to be able to fit everything in. And so as a teacher, I know you feel stressed that, I don't know if I can really fit the arts in because I have all this other stuff I have to do, and it's stressful. And so I like to be able to show teachers how it really is simple to just add something or tweak something, and you can do art, but if you're integrating it into their core, then they're able to feel like they're still teaching what they need to be teaching. So this is kindergarten, and this is just a really simple example of the top part says kind of what the strand is from the art core, and then the bottom part is what I'm integrating it with. You can skip to the next one because I won't go through each one. It will take way too long, and maybe even the next one. Okay, so here's a really simple one. So this was a project I did with my students. And so on the art side of things, they're learning about symmetry, they're learning about printmaking, because we actually only painted one side and then we folded the paper and they rubbed it. So it was a really fun, creative thing that they got to do, but then also we were able to integrate it into the science core standard. And so they were, we talked about features of animals and their ability to survive in their environment. So a really simple way to integrate something where we can pull a really creative side to it, and it was a really fun project that turned out really beautiful, and then also use their science, science. So you can flip to the next one too. This is kind of a fun one. This was their tertiary monsters, and so we talked about tertiary colors and emphasis, like where you place your certain things. So that's the art side of it. And then the other aspect of it was science again. And we just talked about the relationship between force applied to something and how it results in motion. And so we actually put paint on the paper and they blew with their straws and created the movement with the paint, and it turned into these monsters. So that was a really cool, fun, easy way. The kids love it. The awesome thing about my job is that when I walk in, the kids are like cheering because they're so excited. Maybe not in 5th grade. He's like, yeah, right, they weren't cheering when you walked in. But all the younger grades are totally cheering. So I feel like it's so awesome because the kids love art. They are excited for any opportunity they get to create and just do something a little different. And like he talked about in that last little blurb that said, that it builds confidence. And I've noticed that, like when I walk in and there's students that maybe don't do so well in other subjects, but I'm able to talk to them and just tell them how great they're doing with their art. And then even I display it in a display case near my office. And oftentimes I've chosen those students and the teacher will say, oh, I'm so happy you chose that person because they really haven't been highlighted enough this year. And so it gives them an opportunity to build confidence. They're using a different part of their brain, and it just gives them opportunities to see that there are, different ways to excel, and maybe we're not always good at math or those subjects. Hopefully they'll get there, but they can be really good at art, and it's also integrated with other curriculum. You can flip to the next slide. This is a really fun one in 4th grade. They talk about soil and erosion, and so we just simply made a book, and they get to illustrate it, and that's a really easy way to integrate art into another subject. Go to the next one. Self-esteem portraits. So this was a little bit harder to integrate, but I kind of found a way. So it was just talking about how the students compare the benefits of social interaction and time alone. And so really just introspection, learning about yourself and building self-esteem. And so they got to create these really fun silhouettes and put all of the things that they like inside of their silhouettes, and then they could add quotes and different things like that. So again, another creative way to highlight an individual and build their own confidence and self-esteem. And the last one, in 6th grade, they talk about the terracotta warriors, so we sculpt those out of model magic clay, and they get to learn about another culture and the way the art, talks about culture and the way that things are preserved, and then they got to build something that resembled that. And I don't have a picture of what they actually built, but they're really cool. So I'm a huge believer in the arts. I've always loved art, and so it was really easy for me to teach art because I love it so much. I definitely have seen the benefits in not only my own children, because I do a lot of art with them, but in all of the classes that I get to go into. And I just feel super lucky to have the job that I do. It's a really wonderful, wonderful job. So thank you.
Thanks. Told you she can say it a lot better than I can. And the one thing I want to definitely say is that when you walk into these 4 schools, you know they're a Beverly Taylor Art School. You can just feel the excitement, and like she says, you see the artwork, you see the excitement and the things that are going on in there. This is a great program, and we're excited to highlight it. And there's one last quote here. It's actually by Governor Herbert, and he really I won't read it here, I'll just basically paraphrase, but he basically says, we need creative innovators, and they're at a rare commodity, and we need to develop those and promote those in our schools. And once again, that really is just highlighting this importance of this whole child. And this is one of these programs that truly is a gem in our district that highlights this whole child. And I appreciate the time to present that, and I'd love to answer any questions you guys have.
Can trust lands money be used to support this program?
Absolutely. Schools will we'll gather funds in various ways, and that is definitely one of the ways that schools are funding this program. So,
Matt, thank you very much. Thank both of you for your presentations. They've been very informative and fun to see what you're doing. We now would like to turn the time over to Dr. Stevens for an appointment.
Board, with Reed Newey accepting the position as superintendent in the Davis School District, and he began in that role last month, December 1st, it's appropriate to bring to you a recommendation for a new assistant superintendent. And I'd like to recommend to you the name of Kevin Cederholm, who currently is serving as our Human Resources Executive Director. I wondered if maybe we take action on
We'll
that.
take action and then give you,
Wonderful.
turn it back to you.
Wonderful.
Board, do I have a motion to appoint Kevin Cederholm as Assistant Superintendent of the Weber School District?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Wonderful. Kevin, do you want to come up? As Kevin's coming up, let me just take a moment and introduce, I think everybody knows him, but maybe just a little bit by way of introduction. Then I want to say a thing or two about him. Kevin has his bachelor's and master's degree both from Weber State University, his administrative endorsement from Utah State University. Kevin taught at Pioneer, Valley, Country View, and Bates Elementary Schools, and he taught every grade except kindergarten. What happened to kindergarten? Wasn't an opening. We had done it. He went into administration, and he has been principal at Canesville, Pioneer, and Bates Elementary, and every school. He was an outstanding principal. For the last 6 years, Kevin has been our Executive Director of Human Resources. Let me mention just a couple things about that I think highlight some of the remarkable work that Kevin has done. All of you know that we're in a serious teacher shortage, and districts around us are experiencing that teacher shortage far more than we are. And I attribute a lot of that to Kevin, that we're not having the same challenges at the same level that other districts are because of several things. Number one, a mentoring program that he's established that provides tremendous support to new teachers in the profession during those first 3 or 4 years. Research is clear that those that leave the profession early often leave because they don't feel support during those years. Our mentoring program is second to none, and Kevin established that, has run that, and done tremendous work with that. The other thing, Kevin has done a great job opening up a pipeline, partnerships with universities. You've got some districts that are traveling all over the nation trying to recruit. And what Kevin has done is really focus on opening up the pipelines close to home. And they stay. People stay. Our teacher retention rate is maybe the highest or second highest in the state. And it's about 20 percentage points above the state average. And I attribute that a lot to Kevin's leadership. Number one, that we're finding people who are local that want to stay in this area. We're providing support to them during those early years of their teaching career, and they're staying and they're succeeding. And we've just got a tremendous group of teachers. We're already well positioned for next school year, aren't we, Kevin? He's very proactive with this. I'll mention one other thing. Occasionally in human resources, Kevin has to get involved in another aspect, and that is corrective action. I've never, in his 6 years in that position, I've never heard anybody that Kevin has worked with through that process that hasn't felt that they haven't been treated with absolute fairness and integrity and respect. He just has a tremendous way about him as it relates to that. Now, Board, in his role in the superintendency, he'll continue to stay very involved in human resources. For the next 5 months, the position of Director of Human Resources will stay vacant. And that's because to fill that would create a lot of disruption in our schools. It would create a domino effect that would disrupt a number of schools and your polling principals and so forth. And I just don't want to see that happen in our schools. So Kevin will be pulling double and triple duty over the next 4 or 5 months. But I'd rather us limp along a little bit in the district than create that disruption in the schools. But even when we come to you in May with a recommendation for a new Director of Human Resources, Kevin will still be very involved. He'll continue to oversee human resources and bring that expertise and leadership to that department and some other assignments that will come. But Kevin is an outstanding educator, a tremendous leader, and I look forward to working with him in this new role. Kevin, I'd like to invite you to introduce those who are with you, and if you want to say anything. Do we have a microphone?
Well, Superintendent, I appreciate the kind words. It's a real honor. Board, I appreciate your support. No dissenting votes. I appreciate that. And a big thank you to the people that are here. It's a pleasure to come to work with these people. Okay. I'd like to invite my family. And by the way, Board, I'm excited. I'm excited for the challenges. I am. I look forward to this new opportunity. This will be hard. I have Hunter, my son, his daughter-in-law, Jandy, my son-in-law, Skylar, my daughter, Moki, my wife and best friend, Kelly, my son, Kel, my daughter-in-law, JJ, my son, Dax, who also teaches at Plain City Elementary, my son, Stockton. We're missing Shay and her husband. They couldn't travel in the weather. My grandkids, Huxley and Melee and Everly is asleep in my office, and all two of my daughter-in-laws and daughter are all carrying other grandkids that are coming. I love my family. I enjoy Weber School District. Me and my wife grew up in Weber School District. All my kids attended Weber School District, and I'm very biased, but it is by far the best district around. And I can say that with some vision of reality in the fact that I get to see so many other districts. And we have a great thing going here. So much of that is attributed to you, Board, and our superintendency and the vision that's been established. But thank you to everybody.
Kevin, welcome. A little comment, as Jeff was complimenting Kevin on his work to keep the district staffed, and I know he does a wonderful job there, but people come here because they want to be with everybody that's here. This is an incredible district. As I get around and talk to people and teachers that work at other districts that say, oh, I applied at Weber, but gosh, I wish I'd gotten in. I had to go someplace else, and it's because of you guys. It's not particularly the board. It's everyone here makes this a great place to educate our children, and I thank you very much for that. We will now turn the time over to Dr. Peterson for the proposed board meetings for the year 2017 and January 2018.
Thank you, President. It's time once again to approve the calendar for next year for our regularly scheduled board meetings. We have kept with the first Wednesday in the month, except for the month of April because of spring break, so we're going the second Wednesday. And then also the month of June is the second Wednesday to accommodate the budget hearing and the preparation that's needed to get the budget ready by June 14th. And no meetings in July. Obviously, also from time to time, we have special study sessions, and those will be advertised and posted as needed. And so we'd like approval of this schedule so that we can get it posted in all the appropriate channels and move forward.
Board, do I have a motion to approve the board meeting calendar for the year 2017-18 or on January 18? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We have no further business to come before the board this evening, so do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor, say bye.
Bye.
Thank you.